Hi everybody, this is Angie from Tourangie.com, and today I'm doing a little video. Here I'm in Bluefield, West Virginia, and I'm crossing the state line into Bluefield, Virginia. This is of course Bluefield Avenue, and I will be driving to Crescent View Apartments. I've had several requests for this route, wanting to see Vencil Street and Crescent View. So basically, the roads I'll be getting on, I'll be taking a right up ahead on Depot, and then it'll jump on Wilson Street for just a second, and then it's basically just Vencil Street and then Neal Street, which is where Crescent View Apartments is. And I'm going to just talk a little bit about the history of Crescent View Apartments. I found a article in the Bluefield Daily Telegraph from May 28th, 1972. So I'm going to be reading part of the article to you. And that is when Crescent View was about to open. It opened in June, or at least partially opened in June. So I'm going to be reading to you some of the article, and you can learn some stuff. There's a lot that I didn't realize with the Crescent View Apartments. This is a $1.4 million federally financed apartments, and this was in 1972, and it was a rent supplemented housing specifically for low income, but high income could also stay there if need be. Crescent View was one of the first projects of its kind in this area. Project guidelines open Crescent View to normally low income groups such as the elderly, as well as those that might be considered low income poverty groups. Additionally, tenants with high income groups will be accepted at the discretion of the project manager. High income tenants will not be eligible for rent subsidies, but will pay the full market value for the rent of those apartments. According to project manager Tom Schenko of the Executive Management and Realty Corporation of Danville, Virginia, who is employed to manage Crescent View, the complex will be fully integrated both economically and racially, and is to be involved in rather than separated from the surrounding community life. Management of Crescent View, including accepting of rent and paying the taxes and all other bills, is the responsibility of the management corporation, which in turn is to file quarterly and annually special reports to the project owner and the Department of Housing and Urban Development. Crescent View is financed through the Federal Housing Authority, now part of HUD, and is co-owned by Raymond V. Lawn Construction of Charlottesville, Virginia, and Carl F. Eburn, Vice President of Fidelity National Bank of Lynchburg, Virginia. Marjorie Maxey of Green Valley has been hired as the resident manager for the project. Schenko says that Miss Maxey will live and maintain an office at Crescent View as soon as the access roads were complete, probably within the next 2 to 3 weeks. A portion of the development will be ready for occupancy by late June, and this article is from 1972. So, and it says, and the whole construction of the whole property will be done by the fall. As you can tell now, we're driving up the hill. The apartments are on both sides up here, so you'll be able to see it, and I turn around up here and basically come back down. But I'm going to continue reading the article from 1972. Bluefield, Virginia Town Manager W.N. Lambert says weather has been the chief factor in the construction delays. The town has not had good construction weather for the last 2 years, according to Lambert. And Lambert described the project area as still muddy and says it will take pushing to have it ready for the June opening. The town is responsible for providing water and sewage system access roads to the project at an estimated cost of $12,000 to $15,000, as sum the town expects to recover in future taxation to the project. Temporarily, the town of Bluefield is renting offices on the second floor of the municipal building to the project manager. Miss Maxey will be in the office from 9 to 5 on weekdays to accept applications from probable tenants and to provide further information. Part of her job description is working with the schools, Red Cross, and social and civic organizations to help link Crescent View with the rest of the community. The idea, according to Shinko, is to help tenants with time on their hands in finding meaningful involvement without developing programs oriented solely for Crescent View. A move the management feels would tend to isolate residents from the project. The federal rent subsidy allocated for the 108 garden apartment facility on the Virginia side is $164,539 per year. Rent subsidies are set by HUD and are calculated on the basis of tenant income. Occupancy limits are set by the federal government in the belief that overcrowding creates social problems. 2 people constitute maximum occupancy for a 1-bedroom apartment, 4 people for a 2-bedroom, and 6 people for a 3-bedroom. Applicants for subsidy rent earning no more than $3,800 may qualify for a 1-bedroom apartment. Those entering no more than $4,400 may qualify for a 2-bedroom apartment. And those making no more than $4,900 earn a 3-bedroom apartment. So you think about that. That's in 1972. It's wild to think about how much things have changed. To think that $3,800 annually, that's unreal. But prices of everything has changed, and I wasn't even around in 1972. I was born in the late 70s, but still thinking that $3,800 would be an annual amount of money, it's hard to believe. So now let's just continue on reading this article. The tenant's payable portion of rent is computed on the basis of 25 cents of his adjusted gross income, bearing in mind that the subsidy cannot be more than 70% or less than 10% of the market rent. The adjusted gross income is figured by allowing a deduction of $304 for each dependent child under the age of 21. Rent supplement tenants must qualify as one of the following: displaced by government action, either head of house or spouse is 62 years or older, head of house or spouse is physically handicapped and now lives in substandard housing, occupies or did occupy units destroyed or extensively damaged by a natural disaster, or is with the military on active duty. Preference is given to applicants in these categories who qualify for rent subsidies. Tenants willing and able to pay market rent may be accepted without regard to the mentioned eligibility criteria, and the management corporation will set tenancy standards for the residents paying market rent. So I thought that was a really cool thing that I found just talking about Crescent View. It was really neat to drive up here today. It has been many, many years since I had driven up here, and it looks still in really good condition after all these years. So I'm pretty happy with this drive, and I hope you've enjoyed it. I'm glad I got to record it for you all. There were other streets over here I thought about doing. As you can see, I just did an edit in the video because I had issues driving on Wilson Street. I was going to go up Wilson and circle around, but I just couldn't do it. There was other cars coming down the street, and I had to back up, and I was like, forget this. So we'll do some other streets around here some other time. But this is Angie from Tourangie.com. Come to my website, read my blogs, make appointments so I can help you plan your next travel adventure. And I'll give a quick shout out. This is one of the people that requested this. It was BabyGirl027 from YouTube. Was one of the people that had wanted to see this area, Vencil Street and Crescent View area. but I've had like 3 or 4 other requests for the area. So I was glad to make the video for you all today. Talk to you all later.